Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everybody. What a beautiful night. It hasn't rained yet in Greenwald Tent. I'm Nick Burns. I'm co-chair of the Aspen Security Forum and the Aspen Strategy Group, along with my very good friend Condoleezza Rice, who's going to join us in a couple of days. It is a great pleasure to see this crowd. We have ministers here from many of our allied governments. We have ambassadors here. I just walked in with the ambassadors of the Netherlands and the ambassador of Belgium, both NATO allies. We have people from all around the world. In each continent in the world, we have participants. We have you for the next 3 days, so welcome. The first person I want to recognize tonight is the board chair of the Aspen Institute, Margot Pritzker, and she has done a phenomenal job of lifting this organization up. Thank you, Margot. The second person I want to recognize is the guy sitting beside her, who is a valued member of the Aspen Strategy Group, close personal friend, Tom Pritzker. Dan Porterfield couldn't be with us. He's got a very important and positive family event he's had to go to outside this country, but had a great talk with Dan this morning about all the great positive changes here at the Aspen Institute, the support from the board, the support from the public for this big idea that we have that it's worthwhile getting together to talk about serious issues concerning the United States and the world. So thank you all for being here. We're going to have an important set of discussions. I think they're going to be exciting, maybe even portentous over the next 3 days. We're going to have some debates, as we always do at the Aspen Strategy Group, because we're living in a consequential time. And we've got major crises affecting all parts of the world and some major positive transformations of the global economy and in technology that we ought to be thinking about seriously and talking about seriously. Consider just briefly some of the major points of the agenda this week. Putin's brutal, illegal, and tragic war in Ukraine, his assault on a great nation in the center of Europe, the nation of Ukraine. The war's impact on hundreds of thousands of civilians, innocent civilians, who've died or been wounded or been scarred forever by this brutal assault. And a nation fighting for its very existence, Ukraine, in Europe's most horrific war since World War II. There's a lot at stake, and we'll hear about that tonight in the second panel. Consider the Middle East. Israel is in its strongest position since May 14th, 1948, since the day that Israel was born. Iran, on the other hand, is in its weakest strategic position since the Iranian Revolution of 1978 and 1979. Consider the impact these turbulent series of events of the last few years have had on Yemen and on poor Lebanon, which is searching for true stability and independence, on the people of Syria. Consider the impact on the people of Gaza and the desperate situation that the people in Gaza are suffering right now. A lot to talk about in the Middle East. And consider the U.S.-China relationship. We'll be discussing it in just a few minutes. It's competitive. It's very challenging. It's critical to both of our countries. It's critical to the world, given the impact of China and the United States on the world. And it's really complicated. That was my life for the last 4 years. I actually came to Aspen 3 times a year for 13 years when I was involved with the Strategy Group and Security Forum. I haven't been here since 2019. It is great to be back talking about these ideas. It's not all just gloom and doom. We have in front of us the age of innovation. And a lot of the people here from the private sector, from our research universities, in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, in Latin America, in the United States of America, and Canada, our great neighbor to the north, are engaged in AI, artificial intelligence, in biotechnology, in quantum, in a way that can drive human ingenuity, human progress forward positively if we do it right, or lead us to peril if we don't get it right. And so we'll have a lot of talk about that along with space and cyber in the next few years. But let me finish with a sad thought. We're here tonight because the person who stood at this podium and opened last year's session of the Aspen Security Forum was the great and unforgettable Joe Nye, and we lost Joe a couple of months ago. At another time of division in American society, 41 years ago, Joe Nye, Brent Scowcroft, and Bill Perry came together, and they had a big idea that when Republicans and Democrats were arguing and fighting in Washington, they might repair to the Rocky Mountains for serious discussion about the issues that separated them. Then it was President Reagan's defense buildup and the missile issues that we had with Europe. That was a big idea. Joe, of those three people, was the person who was with this organization all the way through until May of this year, when he passed away in Massachusetts. And his core belief was that we had to be nonpartisan in this tent and in every other Aspen forum, that we didn't come in as Republicans and Democrats. We came in as Americans, and we were fair to each other and respectful, and that is the way we're going to conduct our conversations this week. I will say this, we regret, obviously, the decision of the Pentagon and the Trump administration to not permit 12 senior officials of the Pentagon who had accepted and wanted to be here from being here. It's regretful, but our door is open to the Trump administration, of course to our government, because our government was duly elected. We want them to succeed. Our door is open this summer, next year, and every year, because that's the American way. Thank you very much. One more thing. The person who has really lifted up the Aspen Strategy Group, who has expanded our membership, expanded the way we think about our job, is Anja Manuel. She's done a terrific job as our executive director, and along with Neve King and Leah Batunis and our incredible staff, they've done so much to put this work together. So please welcome Anja Manuel.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to these glorious mountains. It's so nice to be back in the trenches with you, Nick Burns. Nick was my first boss and mentor, my first time working in the U.S. government. We've done so many things since, and we're grateful to have you back from Beijing. We're grateful for all of the great work you did on behalf of your country across many, many presidential administrations, and last as our ambassador to China. So thank you for being our co-chair. Thank you. I'm actually going to start with the thank yous and then do kind of a more reflective piece. We are just so grateful to all of you. Every year you brave bad weather, flights that get canceled, people getting rerouted through LA and Idaho and who knows where, and you make it here because this is such an important conversation that we all have together. Our sponsors are wonderful, they're steadfast, they teach us about technology, they teach us about what's happening in the business world, so we're grateful to have all of you with us. And most of all, Nick already said it, but this unbelievable team that can turn on a dime, we have so much fun together, even when it's midnight and we're all still working our laptops. So I know you always all get embarrassed, but if you could at least wave if you don't want to stand up. I'd like to acknowledge Neve King, our fearless leader, Leah Batunis, Deb, Alana, Karina, Maggie, Emily, Matilda, Elizabeth, Ellen, Ella, and Chris Herman. Thank you. And you will also see here with us our 5th class of Rising Leaders. This is a program we started in the middle of COVID, wisely, because we thought there aren't enough young people. We need to get the new generation of nonpartisan or bipartisan and thoughtful foreign policy leaders here to the Security Forum, and we're going to spend a whole year teaching them a little bit about leadership. And we hope what we're doing with all of you is the most important thing, which is that you will be lifelong friends and colleagues and all help each other. So we're grateful that you're all here. Thank you. Let me now just pick up briefly where Nick left off. Nick understandably talked about all of the complexities that our world is currently facing. I think those of us who are professionals in the foreign policy world, I think we've rarely seen a world this complex. But what brings us here over and over again is a deeply human desire that unites us all. A shared desire to reduce conflict, to increase stability, and to create a more peaceful and a more prosperous world. So maybe that sounds naive in this very complicated world, but that's why we all come here. That's why all of these people here go to work every day. That's why we have some of the world's best journalists. And this aspiration spans all sorts of political lines. President Trump recently said that his preference will always be for peace and partnership whenever those outcomes can be achieved, always. And President Biden told the United Nations last fall that our goal must be to end the conflicts that are raging today and ensure that the forces that are holding us together are much more powerful than those pulling us apart. So there's a lot of hope. Hope alone isn't enough. And the tools that we used to rely on to do this, alliances, institutions, they don't function quite as we did. So our theme for these 3 days together is going to be to question our own long-held assumptions. A lot of experts in this field, and we get a little bit stuck in our thinking. But I would posit to all of you that our assumptions don't hold the way we may have thought they did. We assume that economic interdependence would naturally reduce conflict. I'm not so sure that's the case anymore. We assume that technology will always serve humanity. We're seeing a lot about AI this week, and that may not always be the case. We assume that institutions built for a different era would remain fit for today. We may have to reinvent some of those. So that is our task here in Aspen. To help us do that, we have brought together an unbelievable juggernaut of 100 speakers and moderators, hailing from 17 countries, senior officials, Republican and Democrat from the United States, civilian and military, senators, experts, leading voices in technology, in business, and in journalism. And together, I'm going to close with Joe, just as you did, Nick. We're going to follow the spirit of our founder, Joe Nye. Joe always knew to retreat to nature. And he always said to us, the reason we go out in nature, we all come here, we all go to the mountains, is to renew our thinking, to seek fresh ideas amongst thoughtful, principled people. Thank you all for being here. Let's get started. So it's now my